And we are live. Hello everyone and welcome to this live stream, Henriette Goes Live. I'm Henriette, I am the founder and the teacher at Pro Strings, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this class. We do these live classes about once a month, and you, the audience, get to ask questions and I will answer them to the best of my ability. So if you're here today, let's practice how you can ask a question, and you will see a chat box. In my screen it's on the right hand side. You write your text, your question into the chat box, and then you hit send, and that should end up at my end, and I will read these chats and I will try and connect with you as much as I can, because that is the whole purpose of this question and answer session, is that I'm trying to connect with my audience. You may know me a little bit from my YouTube channel, and that is what I love to do. We have got a community section in our YouTube channel where we get sometimes a discussion going, and this question and answer session that we do is also very much in that spirit, trying to connect with you, the learners of my channel, and get to know a little bit more about you, and also for you to be able to ask questions that you may have come across when you were watching my videos. I'll tell you a little bit about the history. I started experimenting with video lessons back in 2012, and I had a photographer friend who wanted to go in videography, and we went into a studio one day just for him to test out his new gadgets, his new video equipment, and for me just to work out what might be possible. My question was really, what is possible in a video lesson that isn't really possible in a face-to-face lesson? And I just wanted to explore that idea a bit further. Since then we have learned a lot about videography and how videography can help the music lesson in general and the violin lesson in particular, and our one day in the studio turned out to be 4 days in the studio, and he was testing his equipment and I was testing ideas that I had, and from there very slowly this progressed into my many online lessons that I give, and also my video channel, my YouTube channel. So then came the pandemic, and of course then I had everything set up, and most of my ordinary lessons just were able to continue thanks to all the experimenting that we'd already done, and from there it's really gone on more and more. Now then, I see that some people are already here, so welcome if you're in this class. Do please write your name in the chat box and where you live, and then I'll welcome you and we can get the question and answers starting. So B. Saravanarajan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, really welcome to this class, and you're saying good evening madam, so you're in a different time zone obviously than where I am, because it's lunchtime right here, but it's evening where you are. Where are you? Write that in the chat box, because for me and for other people that are here in this class, it's really nice to see where we are in the world. And usually these question and answer sessions get visited by a lot of people from all over the world, and we welcome that. And for me it's really nice to see where you are. So if you're here and you haven't yet used the chat box, please do so now. Write to me, or to all of us really, where you live and what brought you here today. And B. Saravanarajan is from India. It's lovely to see you here from India. Warm welcome. So I am in Norwich in the UK. Let me write that in the chat box so you can see it. Norwich, UK. And I'll send it. Now with that chat box, you can also add emojis. So if that is what you want to add to your chat, then please go ahead. And if you look to the side of the chat box, I think that's changed slightly since last time. You can see two more things. One is an oblong shape with a $ sign in. If you want to support this channel, you can use that. you can also use a much easier way, and that is send your support to info@primestrings.com via PayPal, or you can use the YouTube super chat and super stickers, and I think that is, oh okay, no, that is something else. If I go on here, if I click on that $sign, you can either buy a super sticker, which is an animated image, or you can send a highlighted message via the super chat, and that is quite a fun thing to do as well. As a member of Henriette's Violin Club, you can also send a milestone chat. So if you want to do that and you are a member of Henriette's Violin Club, then please use that possibility there, that option there in the chat box. Okay, anyone else here that wants to say where they are from? And if you have a question, go ahead and tell me your question, and I'm hoping that I might be able to answer it. Now, in the meantime, whilst you get typing, I have had a question underneath one of the videos on my channel, and somebody's asked, why are there no frets on a violin? And I think that's a very good question, and I can answer that question in a very extensive way. I won't go into too much detail, but why are there no frets on a violin? We could ask. You know, on the guitar, the neck of the guitar has all these little sidelines which help you find where you place your fingers, and on the violin we don't really have that. And the main reason for that is that obviously we can play whole tones and semitones, but on the violin you can alter the tuning even more precisely. And if we had frets on the violin, it would be much too rigid to fit into chords when we play with pianists, for instance. And this is all to do with the violin being a non-tempered instrument. I'm very aware that I'm going to throw in some words now that some people would be unfamiliar with, and I'll try and explain to you what that is. When you have a piano, and this goes into the laws of physics as well, and I'm not a physicist, so I will stay well clear of that. When you have a piano, the piano is a tempered instrument, which means that if you have an octave, there are 12 semitones, and these 12 semitones, they are 12 half steps, you could also call them, and they are all equal distances apart. Now, physics doesn't really work like that, because not all semitones are an equal distance, but for the sake of a piano keyboard, they have made them all equal. So when you press one key on the piano, it's always the same sound. However, on the violin, you can alter the sound slightly so that it fits in better with chords that are going. So you can have an E which is an E, but also an E which is slightly higher, or an E which is slightly lower, and it's for that temperation of your note that the violin doesn't have frets. For those of you who can already play double stops, let me show you what I mean. So if I'm playing two notes and I'm playing an open A and an open E, sounds like that, perfect fifth. Now if I play my first finger on the A string and it is a B, and I play it with the open E string, sounds like that. My interval is a perfect fifth. Now if I play my open D string together with this same B, listen what happens. I'm wondering whether you hear this just now. So my B, when I play it together with the E string, is higher. It's this B. Now I'm hitting the D string. Did you just notice that I lowered my first finger? And this interval of a major sixth is where my B is a little bit lower compared with when I play that B with the open E string. So if you've never tried this before, go ahead and have a go. because that is the fun of playing the violin and the reason why you have no frets on your violin, because we need to be able to alter that B slightly depending on the context of the music. So if you've never done that, give it a go. It's really good fun to practice it. I'm hoping that answers this person's question. So if you are here and you are the asker of this question, then by all means let me know if that answers your question enough. Hello Linda, nice to see you in the chat box. And Linda is from Kent. And welcome to this class. If you have any questions, Linda or B. Saravanarajan, go ahead and ask me your question. Because I've run out now. No, that is nonsense. People often have been, in the past month actually, a lot of people have been telling me their stories. And I really like that. I really appreciate it if you tell me your stories about your experiences of learning the violin or your experience of learning another instrument. And someone recently wrote below a video his experience about being in the RAF in the 1950s. And that was just so interesting for me. And what is even nicer, and which is why I enjoy these classes, but I very much enjoy YouTube as a medium of connecting with you, is that there are people who are so experienced in life just starting to learn the violin. And I give you a big applause because there's so many people who are later in life either picking up their instruments again or starting it for the first time. And that is really, really lovely to see. And I encourage you to keep going because I am in awe of you. So a few more chats have come in. Hello Denise, lovely to see you. And Denise is from Turkey. Really nice to see you here. Linda's asked a question and she says, is it normal for bow hair to tighten as you play? I have 2 bows and they both do it. That's a very good question. And to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. Is it normal for bow hair to tighten as you play? So does that mean that halfway through your playing you loosen your bow? And my bow doesn't do that. I honestly don't know. You've got me out here. That's a really good one. No, I don't know. Why would it tighten? Does your room get a lot warmer when you play? Do you put the heating on before you play? I would expect it to get slacker then rather than tighter. What do you think? Why might it tighten? I honestly don't know. Good question. Okay, the person from India says, I require lessons in shifting. Please refer any exercise. Very good question. I'm having to think now that I've recently noticed that there are so many videos. I think there are 820 videos now on my channel, and I start to forget which video is which. So what you might do, if you go on the home page of my channel and you see just underneath the home page picture, you see home, videos, shorts, community, that sort of thing. If you go furthest to the right, there is a search bar. Search position changing or shifting, those 2 words. And then the videos come up that have that as their subject, because all the videos have got quite a precise description. So if it is stated in one of the descriptions, then you will find it there. Okay. Now, and I'll show you an exercise here which you can do. And that is a good one for all of you who are a little bit further advanced maybe. When you are fully comfortable playing in the first position, and that is how you learn to play the violin, when your fingers are furthest away, so sort of here, you can move all your fingers up and go to the 2nd position and the 3rd position and the 4th position, similar to where the frets are on the guitar, coming back to that subject. Okay, violinists learn their positions first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position, sixth position, and above the sixth position I don't actually teach those high positions, because by then most players have got such an advanced level of violin playing that they will be able to work out the notes. But what we do is we do practice shifting up to the octave. So I'm going to go on the B, on the A string again, and I'm shifting like this. Go to a C sharp. You see, this way I practice shifting to 8 different positions. This will stay on the channel, by the way, so if you want to play this back, come back to this live stream when it's on the channel, when after the class is finished, and you can practice this with me if you've never done this before. So essentially this is a B major scale that I play with just the first finger, and I'm going all the way up to the high B, and you can then go down if you want to practice going from the 8th position to the 7th position. See, then I've hit the low B again. Now the same exercise you can do starting on the 2nd finger and play all the 2nd fingers up to the 8th position and back. 3rd finger you can do it, 4th finger you can do it. So you cover all the positions when you practice this exercise. It is super efficient. Did you know that that's my nickname? Lots of people call me Mrs. Efficient, because if I can get away with practicing in half the time compared with practicing it in a different way, I would always opt for practicing in half the time. So this is my best way of practicing all the positions, and I can't really show you properly. This is in answer to the person from India's question, please show how you play in the 3rd, the 5th, the 2nd and the 4th position. That goes a bit too far in this class. What you might do is buy a book about those positions and teach yourself those positions. The 5th position is the easy one, isn't it? Because the 5th position has exactly the same fingers as the 1st position, except you play it a string lower. So if I play in the 5th position, let me give you an example. I'm playing here. I'm going on the 2nd finger right here. See, I'm going on the A string with the 2nd finger. Same finger as in the 1st position, except you play a string lower. That's a 5th position. Being in the Christmas spirit right now, I'm hoping my Christmas lights are going to last until the end of this class, because it's got last year's batteries in. And just as I switched it on, I was thinking, is it going down or not? But being in the Christmas spirit, I tend to ask my pupils to practice those positions and practice Christmas carols. Play them today in the 3rd position, tomorrow in the 2nd position, the day after tomorrow in the 4th position, and then the next day in the 5th position, and so on. And it is a good fun exercise, and it really is good for the brain, because you then apply all these positions in an unusual way. So another suggestion for you there to practice the positions. Okay, Linda, about the bow tightening, isn't it? Yes, it is a bit of a mystery. I have to loosen the bow about 3 times during an hour's practice. Just thought others might have the same problem. You know what, if you are here attending this class and you have the same issue, please let me know, because I'm intrigued now. I have not come across that. And I honestly would not know what the answer to the question is. So the bow tightens when you play. The bow tightens when you play. I don't easily fall silent, Linda, but here I do. I honestly can't think of a reason why the bow would tighten. So that would mean that if you added pressure here, it would stretch this backwards. Honestly, I don't know. So if you happen to be a luthier and you're here, some luthiers do, help us out here. I honestly don't know. Sorry. I will research that now and or later after this class. Have you checked it online? Just ask this question to Google and see if Google has an answer to that, because I would like to know that. I've never come across it with my pupils either. So let us know. Would be good. Anyone else has got an intriguing situation that they want resolved, and I'll do my best to resolve it better than Linda's. Honestly, I don't know. Anyone else has a question? I know I can't see her here at the moment, but I was telling you about these stories that people tell me below videos. And there's one person who apparently has an injury, and she now starts to learn to play the other way around. So left-handed violin, right-handed violin even. So the violin's in the right hand and the bow in the left hand. That must be intriguingly difficult. So another interesting little story there. I would not want to try that, but I've seen there is one person who plays in an English orchestra, I think, or who's a soloist with an English orchestra. Years ago I saw him play a concerto, I can't remember now, and this person has had an accident and could not use one of the fingers of his left hand. I think he's missing one finger, or one finger is paralysed, and he's had to learn to play the other way around. No, there's a challenge. Learning to play the violin in itself is a challenge, but that is a fabulous thing to do. And then we have another little story, and this is also very, very interesting. The day before yesterday, I was asked to visit someone in a care home, and this elderly lady wanted to play the violin again, and she is, I think, late 80s, and amazingly, whilst it had been many, many years, I think, since she last played the violin, she picked up the instrument. We made it fit to her shoulders as they are currently, because old people just tend to go forward a little bit. And once it was all sorted and we had the violin in place, she could just play a song that she remembered. So all these little stories I absolutely love. So keep sending me those. That's really, really nice. Linda is going to have a look on Google. Yeah, please help us out here, Linda. It might be after a while I start to ask the questions and you answer them. Any news on my book yet? Yeah, just this morning I have been listening to violin tracks that have now been recorded in America in the recording studio at the Hal Leonard Corporation. So this book is, for those of you who don't know about this, I've written a violin method, and the brief was, can you write a violin method that uses popular tunes? Because as you probably know, when you play the violin, you play mostly classical tunes and the odd Disney and Motown song. And the brief for me was, can I write a violin method that uses predominantly more popular music? And I have always wanted to do something like that, because I have 3 children and they all play, they get to play the guitar, the saxophone and the flute and the piano. And they had the most wonderful tunes that they knew when they were learning. And I'm going like, I'm teaching all these waltzes and all these serious pieces, and they go about playing jazzy songs. So why is there nothing like that, or very limited amount of more popular music? So that is what I've done. The manuscript is all completed, and some of the songs are having a backing track, or most of the songs have got a video with it. and some of the songs have got a backing track and a violin part. But because I haven't got a recording studio here, I can do video fine, but not music recording, sound recording. The sound recordings are being recorded by studio musicians in Milwaukee, and that has just been completed. So I've just this morning listened to the completed violin track. So really exciting. The backing tracks have all been established, and that's all done. So we're in the final stages. But I have an editor who is really precise and really good. So that is all to come. I'll see whether she's happy for it to go ahead now, but I have to wait until they give the go ahead. The layout is all done and all the pictures, so it looks really good. So I'm very excited, but it will be a little while. I'll keep you posted, of course. Gameputer, hello, welcome to this class. I don't recall the name, so maybe it's your first time, maybe you've been here before, but welcome anyway. I really love your 30 days course. It really gave me so much hope in actually learning the violin without paying a lot of money for private lessons. Love you, Miss Henriette. That's really sweet. Thank you very much. Really pleased to hear that you can achieve progress. That's really nice. And keep it up, keep up the good work. So if you have any questions, today is your day. Do ask them. Allah all. Good evening. How to enhance the sound while playing as a beginner? I'm still having this squeaky sound. Hello and welcome to you. I don't recall your name either, so welcome. Really nice to see new people attend these classes as well. And what a good question, how you enhance your sound while playing as a beginner. There is actually a video on that, and you can check that out on my YouTube channel. It's something called Violinists Stop Making a Scratchy Sound, but I'll give you some ideas about that, because that is what a lot of violinists do, is making a screechy sound, and this is what you can do about it. So first of all, when you have your bow, make sure you've got enough rosin on it. And so let me show you let me show you how I rosin my bow. Funny, because a lot of people rosin their bow like this. So very light and just swishing over it. But actually, when you rosin your bow, you want to go in short strokes, really pressing quite firmly, starting at the heel of the bow and then moving along to about 10 centimeters, and then another 10 centimeters, and another 10 centimeters, so that the rosin goes really in between the hairs of your bow. So not just on the top, but you really make it go inside, in between the hair. So that's the first key to success. Now I'll give it a little tap like that so that the excess rosin will fall out. The second thing to get a good sound is to play with the bow straight. What is that straight bowing? The bow, as you may know, needs to be parallel to the bridge right here. The bridge is this thing here. It needs to be parallel to the bridge. But if I bow, my bow doesn't naturally go parallel. Look what happens. Can you see I'm no longer parallel to the bridge? What I need to do to compensate for that is to move my hand forwards. Can you see? Oops, I'm hitting my Christmas tree right here. So what I've done, my bow has gone from here, my hand has gone from here to straight in front of me. And as I go longer and further towards the point of the bow, I have to stretch even further, so that right now my hand is straight in front of my body right here. And that will give you much less of a squeaky sound compared with when you end up here. See, a lot of people play, maybe not quite as exaggeratedly as I'm doing right now, but my hand is now by my side right here. You see the difference? So stretching that bow arm forwards this way is going to help you get a better sound, because you keep the bow parallel to the bridge. So as soon as you hear your screechy sound, check out the angle, because it may well be that you're heading over the fingerboard and not being straight. So you want to come closer to the bridge, be about a centimetre away from the bridge, and go straight with your bow hand forward. Now, when I play an up bow, and I don't do anything with my bow, look where it goes. It goes somewhere too close to my left ear, doesn't it? So I'm having to compensate, and I'm having to go that way with the point of my bow. And I do that by steering with my little finger. Can you see my little finger is bending? And it is allowing my bow to turn. So my bow, instead of it going that way, at the point it goes that way. So it goes forward. And this is why some people say straight bowing is actually curved bowing, because as I play a down bow, my arm stretches this way, and I'm curving the bow, as it were, forward like that. When I'm playing an up bow, I'm curving the bow forward as well. I'm going that way. And it's finding that angle of the bow so that it remains straight, which is the key to your success for eliminating the squeaks. Now, that takes a while, because that is a very intricate mechanics of what happens in your wrists and in your fingers. And as you progress and you learn to play without holding the bow so tightly, then that becomes easier, because what this is flexibility in your bow hand. I'm really not a fan of this Christmas tree because my bow is getting stuck in it. Okay, so as I get more flexible with my fingers, I can learn to steer the bow. So this is why it hits most beginners, and beginners always say, why am I so screechy? Because that is complicated stuff. And I have recently recorded a YouTube short, and you may check it out, and it's called kayaking, and it's all to do with practicing your fingers and practicing that flexibility. So if you want to encourage your hand to hold the bow less tightly so that you can manipulate the bow when it curves, then that is a very, very useful exercise. So I'm hoping you give this a go. And this is not an overnight cure. I don't promise you any sort of big things here, but if you practice that consistently every day for the next 2 months, you will be able to find a better quality sound. So next time when we meet in our live class, maybe you can attend again and let us know how you're doing. Linda, this is again, maybe you remember about the bow that gets tighter during playing. Oh, Google says it could be to do with humidity. I stand next to a blower heater when it's cold, so maybe that's the answer. Yeah. I can understand, because here in England it's cold at the moment, and we do have little heaters on sometimes and especially when you play the violin, it's very easy to have cold hands and not be able to play as well. So maybe put the blower heater behind you, or maybe put the blower heater a little bit further away. Interesting thought. Yeah, very good. Thanks for updating us on that. Johan Peterson, hello Henriette. I'm learning with your Suzuki violin course. I'm on course 1, and I really like the subtle jiggle on a note that you play. I think it's known as vibrato. It sounds so lovely. That's really sweet. Johan, you will learn to play vibrato too. But vibrato is a thing that comes whenever you learn to play with slightly less tension. Anyone that learns a new skill always plays with too much tension, unnecessary tension. I always give the same example, and perhaps you can relate to this. When I started learning to drive a car, this is many years ago, I held the steering wheel just like that because I thought it would make me a better driver. Actually, it doesn't make any difference to how well you drive if you squeeze the steering wheel, you see. It's after a while you get used to driving that you can hold the steering wheel with slightly... What is going on? I'm looking back at myself in the screen, and there is all this fireworks going on I'm not doing anything. So if this is you, then thank you. There's our festive cheer. So I'm saying, if you hold the steering wheel really tightly, it's not going to make your driving any better. But we can't help ourselves as beginners. Same with playing the violin. Before you find that balance of playing the violin with less tension in your left hand, with less tension in your bow hand, we can't really learn to play vibrato. Vibrato comes when you're really relaxed. So give it some time, finish this course, maybe finish the next course as well. And then when you think, actually, I am much looser than I was maybe a year ago, then you can start to learn vibrato. There are lots of vibrato videos on my channel. So check those out if you want to learn that. It's easy with vibrato. If you're not ready for it, it won't appear. So sometimes I'm looking at a student and I'm thinking, maybe, just maybe, this person is ready to learn to play vibrato. And with some, it comes straight away. And with others, we have to stop the exercises and try it again 3 months later, and then suddenly it does appear. So it's as easy as that. If you practice vibrato and it doesn't appear, then it's too early to learn. You can only learn to play with vibrato when the muscles are ready for it. And we can't manipulate the speed with which muscles and balance and so on develop. So unfortunately, we have to let nature take its course there. So what you want to do before you start to play vibrato is make sure you learn to play perfectly in tune. That is another aspect to vibrato playing, because what we do with vibrato is we're altering the pitch of the note slightly, which gives you the vibrato sound. And obviously, before you start altering the pitch, you want to make sure that you play with perfect intonation. Otherwise, it's a never-ending saga, isn't it? So what I suggest you do to help with playing in a more relaxed manner is to have a go at my mindfulness course. And this is for all of you. At some point, I made the mindfulness course for a couple of people that I used to teach that were extremely tight. Some people have got a more natural loose muscle tone, and other people, including myself, have got a very tight muscle tone. So for those that are a bit tighter, those people really benefit from trying to consciously relax. The tightness in sound, and equally the squeaky sound that we talked about earlier, is because you care so much. And especially as adult learners, we want to get things right, don't we? Because we know so well the difference between good playing and bad playing. That is an advantage when you learn when you're slightly older compared with when you learn as children. But it can be a disadvantage as well, because you care so much that you're going to pile more and more pressure on yourself and then create more tension, which actually makes it harder to play. So the good thing about when you learn when you're older compared with when you learn when you're a child is that you can learn far more efficiently, and your progress is going to be really, really good because you know exactly what your target is, and you can also build in strategies that help you achieve that target. Whereas children just play anything they want to play that pops into their heads, they do. So they do a lot of playing, but there's also a lot of playing that doesn't actually help them achieve the target, because there is no target as much as there is when adults learn, you see. So good for you. I'm really pleased that you're following the Suzuki course. And there are 2 Suzuki courses, as you may have seen. The first one is Learn to Play Suzuki Violin in 30 Days. That's book 1. Then there is one with a green thumbnail. That is Suzuki book 2. And I'm currently recording Suzuki book 3, which is in a members only category. I think that is in the silver membership course. So when the time is right, you might opt to upgrade to a silver membership and follow book 3 as well. So you've got a couple of years ahead of you with learning, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and one day you will be able to play with vibrato. So talking of memberships, and you may have come across my membership video, I wanted to give something else to people who are have maybe followed the free courses and have developed in such a way that they are ready for something a little bit more challenging. For those, I have got the gold membership and the silver membership, and they have got different courses that are a little bit more advanced. And then there are other people who are members, and they are bronze members, and they just generally want to support me as a creator. And you don't know how grateful I am for those bronze members who just pay me a £5 every month, and that allows me to create more videos. Obviously there's a lot on the channel at the moment, but there's always something else to learn, or something similar to learn, which might work if I present it in a slightly different way. So that is the whole thinking behind the channel. So the 3 membership levels: gold, bronze, silver and gold. And when you take out a gold membership, you have access to anything that's included into silver and bronze. When you take out a silver membership, you have access to the silver membership courses, obviously, and also the bronze things. So it is like a progressive thing: bronze, silver and gold. Something for you to check out if that is what you fancy. So is there anyone else who's got another question? I'm just waiting a second for people to type in your question. Johan, thank you so much, he says. My pleasure. Nice to see so many different people here. As I said before, it's just really, really lovely. And I've seen in recent months that there are more new viewers coming into the channel. So it's just really nice. Obviously, it's really nice to see the people who've been coming to these classes and on the channel. You start to recognize some faces and some names. But it's also really nice to see some new people there as well. So by all means, if you're new in this channel, do use the community tab and sometimes write a question. If you have a question and it's not yet time for a live class, then by all means write the question there, because this is a very supportive community and people are so friendly. And people often ask me, have you had any negative experiences on YouTube? And to be honest with you, absolutely none whatsoever. People are surprised about this. I'm very surprised about that, but I'm so grateful, and I hear that from other creators as well. People are all so positive and so supportive of one another as well. So that is just really, really lovely. And people ask me sometimes, aren't you afraid of social media and YouTube, especially because there is so much crap out there? Yes, there is, but not on this channel. I'm just really pleasantly surprised. So if you have a question in the course of the coming weeks, do write them in the community chat box, and there are always people ready to answer your question. So your last chance to ask any question that you may have. What does a small horizontal line above a note in violin music mean? Okay, good question, Linda. Good question. Now, I have got my whiteboard here from a lesson that I was teaching the other day. I'll give you an example. Let me write it here. Here we have a piece of music. And Linda's talking about a small horizontal note. It is above the note if you had it, the stem of the note down like that, but sometimes it's here as well, and it could be here like that. And I guess that is what you mean. And that means separate that note from anything else. So play it legato, smooth, as opposed to staccato, short. So really emphasize those notes. Okay. So legato, I was using that word. Smooth. Okay, and that is what that line indicates. Now, if you have got a whole load of notes and they have got this, I'm just making this up on the spot. Give me a moment to write that. Say I've got this. Okay, is there a way that I can play and have that? So I have 4 of the same notes and they've got dashes on the top. That will sound like this. Or not necessarily the same note. So I interrupt my slur. If the dashes weren't there, or I could go. Without the dashes, with the dashes. And then it's called portato. Now portato bowing, I'll write that down for you. Is when you support the note. There's your portato, you see. And you could imagine that you're supporting the note da, 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 like that. So you stress the notes, but not as much that you play an accent. If we had accents on those notes, they would be like this, and they would be much more powerful, like that. Okay, I should really not leave the portato in, because that's not portato, you see. Okay, so there I've got accents, and they are much stronger dashes, shall we say. You see, whereas portato is. Can you hear that this version is much milder than the previous one? Of course, that depends on the style of music that you are playing. If this is in a piece that is a very romantic piece, that would make the stresses even greater, so you would emphasize that even more. If this was a Baroque piece that had those dashes in, you would keep the notes still slightly shorter. So it's all within the range of the style of your piece. Okay, but you play the portato notes saying da, 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 like that. I hope that helps. I'm just looking at my chat box again, and Johan says, I look forward to your guidance and it's very encouraging. Ah, that's really, really sweet. One more time, I'll tell you, if you want to support this channel, what can you do? Obviously, we as YouTube creators earn a living from YouTube because of the advertising that you watch. If you are just visiting, if you are a gold member, you watch everything without adverts. But that is one thing, is this is how YouTube creators can survive in the world of YouTube, because you watch advertising. But what can you do to support this channel and help me as a creator is to watch every video to the end, because the percentage of people that watch all the way through to the end, YouTube measures, and if this is clearly a video that is of interest, it will serve it to more people with similar interests. So watch each video to the end. Obviously, if you like and subscribe a video, it is also a sign of appreciation. So if you can do that and share it with your friends on Facebook, on Instagram, that sort of thing, then it tells YouTube that this is a valuable content that is worth watching. So that is one thing. Then you can support a channel as well by taking out a membership, or by buying super chats, super stickers, or just go into the comment section, or the description, I should say, below each video, and there are other ways to support me as a creator. So I'm super grateful for people who make the effort to watch every video to the end, to support me in other ways by taking out a membership. And there's a big applause to all of you who are members of the channel, because obviously I could not exist if it wasn't for the members. and the people who are not members who are just watching. So watch every video to the end, everyone, and I thank you so much for doing so. Final time, I'm going to read in the chat box. So now is your absolute last time to ask your questions if you have any. Linda says, thanks so much. I have some scales with the dashes and slurs. Yeah, there's one way of playing slurs, isn't it? One way of playing scales, and it's quite nice to practice these different ways of performing scales, because it makes it easier in your pieces to be expressive. If you practice staccato on scales and legato on scales and portato on scales, if you are able to, because you haven't got so many notes to care about, if you play scales, you can learn scales maybe on automatic pilot, so that you have more time to work on the clarity of the spiccato, clarity of the legato, and clarity of the portato in your playing. That is going to rub off in your pieces, and that's why I'm a great fan of playing scales, not for the sake of playing scales, but for the sake of using the scales for improving whatever it is you need to improve in your pieces. So it could be dynamics, it could be other performance directions such as staccato and legato and these sort of expressive markings, or it could be intonation, and that is a whole different question, isn't it? So go ahead, play your scales with dashes and slurs, and obviously when you play your scales slurred, you want to listen out for smoothness, so that every note of the slurred section in your scale is of the same quality as all the notes around it. What's the worst thing to listen to is that your line of notes has a certain quality and there's one note that dips below the quality of the rest of the notes. So that is what you practice on scales with slurs, for instance. Another thing that you can practice on scales with slurs is smooth string crossings, because while we might as violinists be concerned with how you cross from one string to another, our audiences can't be bothered. They don't want to be disturbed by sudden string crossings. So that is another thing that you can practice on slurs, on scales, is to make your string crossings super smooth. And that is another lesson that we can do. Okay, thank you so much everyone for coming into this live class and for supporting the Pro Am Strings YouTube channel. Spread the word, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next class, which will be in January. So I'm wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Bye everyone, see you soon.